Hello everyone, welcome back. Series of video lecture on various topic on the subject English for skill enhancement. In previous three lectures we have discussed about how to write a paragraph, structure of paragraph, elements of paragraph, and also the usage rules of definite and indefinite articles. So in this video lecture we are going to discuss about omission of articles. So without further delay, let's move to the topic. So first I would like to give an overview of the lecture, like what are the aspects that I'm going to cover in this particular video lecture. So the first part of the lecture would be dealing with introduction to the concept. It's a very small segment. Here I would be talking about what exactly is the concept, what exactly I am going to discuss in this particular lecture, that is omission of articles. So what is omission of articles basically? And in the second part, we will be talking about discussing about list of instances where the articles are not used or where articles are not supposed to be used. So this is very important. So we would be discussing about first, introduction about the concept. So what is, omission of article? So before going into that, we should have clear understanding about what are articles. We have already, seen in the previous two lectures that what is definite article and what is indefinite article, what are the usage rule for those articles. So we already have some idea about the definition of articles. Now, just to put it in a simple word, articles are used to define a noun, whether a noun is specific or unspecific. So as you can see, articles play a very important role because they decide whether, or they give the indication whether a noun is specific or unspecific, right? But in certain cases, we have to also remember that articles are omitted to follow specific grammatical rules and conventions. So it's not like whenever there would be a noun, we should always use either a definite or indefinite article, because there would be also instances where we are not supposed to use any article at all. So now let's see the rules, like what are the exact instances where we are not supposed to use any article. So as you can see, list of instances where articles are not used. The first instance is before uncountable nouns. So what is uncountable nouns? You already have idea about different parts of speech, what is noun and all. So noun denotes name of a place, person or things, right? Now there are certain nouns which are uncountable also. You cannot count them. Now for example, here you can see water. Water is an example of uncountable nouns. So before such uncountable nouns, we are not supposed to use any article, and that's why I'm not saying the water is essential for life. What I have written here, water is essential for life. So there is no article basically. So please remember the first rule, we do not use any article before uncountable noun, u for uncountable noun, un. The second instances where we are not supposed to use any article is before plural or countable nouns. So before plural countable nouns also, we are not supposed to use any article. Now what is plural countable nouns? There are certain nouns, they would be plural and also they would be countable. We can count them. Now for example, dogs, right? So dogs are loyal animals. So dogs, you can see what kind of noun it is. It is obviously plural. You can see a S, and also it is countable. You can count dogs, right? So this is a plural countable nouns. But then what is the context here? This particular noun is used in general sense to denote a class. So whenever we are using a noun to denote, in a general sense, to denote the entire class, we are using plural countable nouns, and before such plural countable nouns, we are not supposed to use any article here. So that's why I am not saying dogs, the dogs are loyal animals. What I have written here, dogs are loyal animal without any article. So these are the first two instances where we are not supposed to use any article. Now let's move to the next slide and let's see the next instances. So this is the third instances where we are not supposed to use any article. Now what is the instances? Before proper nouns. So again, if you go back and try to remember or recollect what is proper noun, proper noun indicates name, right? It can be a name of a person, it can be also a name of a place. Now these are proper nouns. Now before proper nouns also, we generally do not use any article. Please understand there might be some exception in specific context, that will depend on the context, but in general sense, we are not supposed to use any article. We normally do not use any article before proper noun. See the example here. So name of people. Now, John is a teacher, for example. Here, I am not saying that John is a teacher. John is a teacher because John is a proper noun. We are not supposed to use any article. Similarly, name of places. Before the name of the places, you can see here, I live in India. So what is places? India, right? This is a place. Now it is a proper noun also. So before that, we are not using any article. I live in India. There is no article. Now before days of the week, months and holidays also. So for example, Monday is my favorite day, which is not the case by the way, but yeah, for example, I have given. So Monday is my favorite day. Here also you can say I'm talking about a particular day, and that's why before the name of the days, as has been specified in the third instances, we are not supposed to use any article, though there would be only one Monday, right? But then as per the rules, we are not supposed to use any articles before the name of the days of week. So that's why I am writing Monday is my favorite day. I am not saying the Monday is my favorite day. So I hope this is clear. The third point, before proper noun, we are not supposed to use any articles. Now let's move to the next slide. So fourth instances. We have already discussed about three particular instances where we are not supposed to use any article. Now let's come to the next instances where we are not supposed to use any article. Before abstract noun. So you can see as per now, all these four rules or instances actually are related to nouns. So we do not use articles before certain kind of nouns. So you can understand that we should have a clear idea about different types of nouns. Otherwise, we might find it difficult to understand the rules or the instances where articles are not supposed to be used. Now, the fourth instances, before abstract noun also, we are not supposed to use any article, right? So what is an abstract noun? You know, when abstract noun is used generally, the context is this kind of nouns must be used in general sense. And in those cases, we are not supposed to use any article. So abstract noun, you can tell what is abstract noun. You can take a pause and quickly reflect what is abstract noun. Fine. So abstract noun is the noun which denotes a kind of concept. You can see it's something that is not a concrete things. It's about idea. It's about feelings, right? So you can see honesty is the best policy. So could you identify the abstract noun in the sentence? It's very easy. You can see honesty. This is the abstract noun, right? You cannot, it's not a thing. You cannot see it or you cannot, touch it. So it's about an idea. It's about a concept also, you can say. So that's why it's an abstract noun. Now, before abstract noun, when used in general sense. So you can see in the sentence, you have to understand that in this particular sentence, this particular article, like abstract noun is used in general sense. So I am talking honesty. I'm not talking about honesty of a particular person. I'm talking about honesty in general sense as a value, right? So that's why before this particular noun, abstract noun, we are not using any article. I am not saying the honesty is the best policy, right? What I am saying or I am writing, honesty is the best policy without any article. Now there would be exception, as you can see here, when the abstract noun is specified. So sometimes we can use abstract noun in a specific sense also, not in general sense. See the sentence, it would be more clear. The honesty of the witness was appreciated. The honesty of the witness, right? Now you can see honesty, same abstract noun, but here what I am doing, I am using an article. And could you please tell me or explain why in this case, in the second case, I am using an article, and the first case I haven't used any article before the same abstract noun, that is honesty. So as you can see, it's all lies here. In the first instances, honesty was used in general sense, but in second instances, what you can see, honesty is being used in particular sense. I'm not talking about honesty as a value in general. What I am talking about the honesty of a particular person, that is the witness. So that's why in this case, second instances, I am using the honesty, but in the first instances, I am not using any article, right? I hope it's clear now. So let's move to the next slide. So this is the fifth instances where we are not supposed to use any article. So before names of languages and subjects. So you all know what are the languages, like name of languages and subjects. So whenever we talk about certain language or whenever we talk about certain subject, we are not supposed to use any article. Now, in general way, if we think, we might think that because languages, for example, if I talk about Hindi language, now it's about a particular language. There is only one Hindi language, right? So why should not we talk about, or why you should not use the definite article the? Similarly, subject also. If we talk about maths, physics, chemistry, history, anything, they're all about specific subjects. So why don't we use definite article the? But as was told in the first slide itself, like there are certain grammatical conventions that we have to follow. There are certain grammatical rules that we have to follow. So as per that rule, the rule says that before name of languages or subjects, we are not supposed to use any article. So that's why you can see this is the name of a language. So I'm not using any article here. He speaks English, right? Without any article. I speak, let's say for example, Hindi. I speak Hindi. So I'm not supposed to use any article before the name of the language. Now next one is mathematics is my favorite subject. So here I'm talking about a subject. You can see before subject also I cannot or I should not say the mathematics is my favorite subject, because what is the rule? Rule says that before name of a subject also we are not supposed to use any article. So that's why in second case also I am not using any article here. So these are the instances, like before name of the languages, you can simply remember the first thing, name of languages, and also name of subjects. We are not supposed to use any article. So let's move to the next instances. Yes, so the sixth one, you can see before meals, games, and diseases also, we are not supposed to use any article. So meals means, you can see the example here, we have dinner. So this is the name of a meals, right? We are not supposed to use any article as per the grammatical convention or grammatical rules. Similarly, cricket, it's a sport. So before name of a sport also, we are not supposed to use any article. We should not be saying the cricket is popular sport in India. What we are supposed to say, cricket, without the article. Cricket is popular sport in India. Similarly, it's the same case with disease also. He is suffering from malaria. You can see this is the name of the disease, malaria. But I am not using any article before it. What I am saying, he is suffering from malaria. So in all these three cases, you have to remember that we are not supposed to use any article. But again, it's not as simple as it might sound or as it might look on your screen, because there would be certain exception. In previous few cases also, you have observed there were certain cases of exceptions. Similarly here also. Now, you don't need to bother much about it, because if you read the sentence and understand the context, you can easily remember these exceptions. So when specifying a meal, so what is the normal rule? Before the name of a meal, we are not supposed to use any article, right? No article. Now what happens, in certain cases, we would be specifying the meal. So we will be talking about a particular meal, one particular meal. In that cases, we are free to use article. Now see the example here. The dinner at the party was delicious. So you can see dinner. Though I am the noun is name of a meal. So as per the rule, we should not be using any article here. The should not be used. But then see the context of the sentence. What I am talking about, I am not talking about meal in general. I am talking about a particular meal that was served in that particular party, right? So here I am talking about a specific dinner. Specific dinner means meals, and that's why in these cases, or in this particular case, we are using the article, definite article the. So I hope it's clear now. So please remember these three things in broad manner: before name of the meals, before name of the games or sports, and also before name of the diseases. We are not supposed to use any article. And what is the exception? If we are talking about, if we are specifying the meal, if we are talking about a particular meal or a specific meal, then in that case we are supposed to use definite article the. You can see. Okay. So let's move to the next slide and let's see what is the next instance. So we omit articles when word like nature, science, death, life, etc. are used in general sense. So again, you can see these instances. When I am writing about the instances, you can observe that I am writing them in two parts basically. In which sense they are being used also is included towards the end of the sentence, right? So whether in specific sense or general sense. In most of the cases, we have found that omission of article happens in when the nouns are used in general sense in most of the cases. So here also you can see when we uh, use the noun or words like nature, science, death, life in general sense, then we are not supposed to use any article. You see the example sentence, it would be clear. Nature has its own rules and it follows them effortlessly. So it's about talking about nature. You can see here also in the rule it is being specified if we are using the word nature. So what is happening here? I am not using any article. Why? Because in this sentence, nature is used in general sense here. That's why we are not using any article. So that's why first no article in the first sentence. Now come to the second example. The saint explained that death is inevitable. That's a very universal truth kind of thing. No one needs to explain, but anyway, in this case, a particular saint has explained. So let's see the sentence. What is the sentence here? The saint explained that death is inevitable. So here you can see I am using the word death and I am not using any article before it. Why? Because in this particular sentence I am using the word death in again general sense. That's why there is also no article. Now, science doesn't have all the answers to nature's mystery. You can see here nature's mystery, science doesn't have. So I am using the word science here at the beginning of the sentence itself. And as you can see, just like previous two sentences also, I am not using any article in this particular sentence also, right? So I'm directly saying science doesn't have, because the rule says that we omit article before the words like science, nature, death, life, etc. when they are used in general sense. So in this sentence also, science is being used actually in general sense, and that's why I am not using any article in this sentence. So again, just to quickly recap the concept, we are not supposed to use any articles before the words like nature, science, death, life, and also there is another criteria. It's not like blindly we should not be using any article before these words. We should not be using any articles only if these words are being used in general sense. Right? So I hope it's clear now. Now let's move to the next slide and let's see what is the point in the next slide. So this is the 8th instances we are going to talk about. So before name of modes of transportation or communication. So whenever we talk about modes of transportation, now please understand here, I'm not talking about a particular vehicle as such. Okay, I'm talking about modes of transportation and also modes of communication. In these two cases, we are not supposed to use any article. Now, we traveled by train. Now here you have to understand that I'm not talking about train as a particular vehicle, right? It's here in this sentence, train is being used in the sense of mode of transportation. I am using the word train in this sentence as to denote a mode of transportation, not a particular train or not a particular kind of vehicle. You have to remember that. Now, in the second case, you can see she contacted me via email, not so before communication. Email is a mode of communication, you can see. So via the email, I cannot say. Before communication, mode of communication also, we are not supposed to use any article. So what is the 8th instance or number 8 instance where we are not supposed to use any article? When we talk about mode of transportation or mode of transport and mode of communication, before them we are not supposed to use any article. Now let's come to the next slide, the 9th one. When words like, now this is very interesting thing and it demands little extra attention compared to the previous list of instances. We can see when we deal with words like school, college, church, hospital, prison, temple, etc. What happens when now it depends whether we are supposed to use article before them or not. Will depend on in which sense they are being used or in which context they are being used. Now here is the answer actually. You can see when they're used for their primary purpose. So if these words are being used for their primary purpose, then we are not supposed to use any article before them. But in all other cases, we can use article. According to the context, we need to decide, what kind of articles we have to use. But you have to remember here that if they are being used in a sentence, okay, for their primary purpose, then we are not supposed to use any article. Now, what are the example? You can see the first one is Rahul goes to university daily. So you can see university, so same logic is applicable, like school, college, university, church, hospital. So I am not using any article here. Now, what is the explanation behind it? Because here Rahul, it indicates, the sentence actually indicates that Rahul goes to university for study. That is the primary purpose. Whoever goes to university, his or her primary purpose should always be to study, right? So this is being used for the primary purpose, and hence we are not using any article here. Now let's see the second sentence here. He goes to school regularly. Right? Now this is the second sentence. Again, school is being used, and before school as the first sentence. In the second sentence also, we are not using any article. Now what is the logic behind it? Same logic. Here also, this particular person, he fortunately is going to school for the primary purpose. That means for the purpose of studying, and that's why we are not using any article here. They go to church on every Sunday. Now you all know the context. On every Sunday, if someone is going to church, that means obviously they are going for praying, right? So church here also is being used for the primary purpose, and that's why no article is being used. Criminals are sent to prison. So in should not be there. Criminals are sent to prison. I'm not saying to the prison, because obviously criminals and prison, you can see the purpose of the prison is to hold the criminals, right? So here the word prison is being used for the primary purpose, and that's why no article is being used. Now one exceptional case, so let's see like how the opposite side looks actually or sounds. So if I say Rahul goes to university daily, that means Rahul obviously is a university student, so he is going, or he goes to university for the primary purpose, for the study. And if I change the sentence, if I say Rahul's father went to the university on Wednesday, or let's say on any particular date. So Rahul's father went to the university. Now why? Can you see the differences here? I am using a particular article, the university. And why I am using? Because rule says that I am not supposed to use any article before the word university. But in the case, the example sentence, as I told, I will write the sentence. You can see Rahul's father went to the university on last Monday. Let's see. So here you can see I am using this particular article, right? The university. And why? Because Rahul's father is not visiting university for study, which is the primary purpose. He might be going there for some other purpose, maybe to deposit the fees, or to meet the professor of Rahul's, to know about his progress or anything, but not for the primary purpose. And that's why if we are not using the word university for the primary purpose, we are supposed to use an article here, and that's why we are using this article. So I hope it's clear now. So again, how do you identify these things, whether something is being used for their primary purpose or not? It depends on the sentence. So what is the context of the sentence? So please understand that these things are not to be memorized blindly, right? If you don't understand the context of the sentence, even though you might have by hearted or memorized all the rules, like all the instances, but you won't be able to answer if you don't identify the context of the sentence. And that's why understanding is very important. Do not focus much on memorization. In fact, you are not supposed to memorize. You don't need to memorize also. If you just go through the rules, like the instances, and understand the example sentences given, like what is the context, what is their context and all, you can easily answer, or you can easily find out where you are supposed to use article and when you are not supposed to use any article. So next, let's come to the next slide. So this is 10th one, the 10th instances where we are not supposed to use any article. We do not use any article before the word God. This is, a very important thing. Normally, whenever we use the word God, we might feel that God is something like a supreme creator, right? He is the creator of the universe. So why not using a definite article? But again, certain rules, grammatical rules or conventions actually don't allow us, or doesn't allow us to use any article before the word, and that's why you can see the example sentence. They all prayed to God. It should be capital, to God. So I'm not saying to the God. So you have to simply understand, or you can also remember it, that before the word God, we are not supposed to use any article. Right? Next, come to the next slide. The 11th one, before name of title, rank, or profession, used as a complement or in opposition. So you can see whenever we use certain words denoting title, rank, or profession as complements or opposition. Opposition means extra information, you can see. So you can see here, Mr. Roy was chosen chairman. So I am already mentioning the name of the person. And also I am mentioning the rank, or you can see the title. What is the title? So I'm using it as a position, you can see, or complements. So in these cases, we are not supposed to use any article before these things, title, rank, or profession. Right? So that's why Mr. Roy was chosen chairman of the committee. I'm not saying Mr. Roy was chosen as the chairman of the committee. Miss Gupta became principal. Again, not the principal. What I am saying, Miss Gupta became principal of this college. So because it's a rank. Dr. Nilesh, again, I am using it principal of the college in the sense of opposition, you can see. And that's why I am not using any article before the word principal. Right? Dr. Nilesh, principal of the college, met minister yesterday. So I hope this is also clear. Now probably this is the last instances that you need to remember. Before common noun, used as nominative address. So there are certain common nouns and we use them as nominative address. You can see ladies and gentlemen. We don't say the ladies and gentlemen. We also don't say like. So this is really example, common example you can remember easily. So whenever we talk about a common noun or we use common noun, ladies, gentlemen, but in nominative address, when we address them. So ladies and gentlemen. So we should not be saying, we should not be using any article. What we should say, ladies and gentlemen. You can see here in the second sentence also, come here boy. So here also I'm addressing the boy, right? In nominative address, you can see. That's why I'm not supposed to use any article. Same is the case with the third example also. So in short, these are the 12 major and instances, where there are certain other instances also there might be there, but these 12 we have to be very careful about, and we should remember them. And also, most importantly, we have to understand these instances. And whenever we be in those kind of instances, like whenever we have to use certain sentences, we need to analyze these rules, these instances, and we have to check if we are also facing same kind of instances. Accordingly, we have to decide whether we are supposed to use any article or we are not supposed to use any article. Right? Now let's come to the next slide. So this is the summary of the entire lecture. This lecture, what are the things, like what are the aspect this lecture has covered? In one part, it did talk about what is omission of article, what does it mean, and then in the subsequent slides, this particular lecture has given you clear picture or clear idea about 12 instances where we are not supposed to use any article. So I wish you all the best, and I also wish you happy learning. Thank you.